One statement has shifted the global narrative. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy didn't just talk about his own war, he pointed directly at Russia and linked it to another conflict, Iran. According to him, Russia is helping Iran with drones, missiles, and possibly military intelligence. And if that's true, then what we're seeing today is no longer just a regional conflict. It's a shift in the global balance of power. This isn't coming from an outside observer. This is coming from a leader whose country is actively at war with Russia, which means he understands how Russia operates, not just through direct force, but through layered strategy. Zelenskyy suggests that Russia may be contributing to Iran's growing military capabilities, from drone development to long-range strike systems. But at the same time, we need to understand the context. In conflict, every statement has a purpose. It can be intelligence, it can be political pressure, or it can be part of a broader information strategy. And that's where things get complex. So, how do we interpret this? Do we accept it immediately or dismiss it entirely? The reality is, it's somewhere in between. Zelenskyy has a clear strategic interest in portraying Russia as a global threat. That's part of the equation. But at the same time, Russia and Iran do have an established relationship. Military cooperation, shared strategic interests, a common position against Western pressure. So when this claim emerges, it doesn't come out of nowhere. There's context behind it, there's history behind it, and there's plausibility behind it. Now let's shift to what's actually happening on the ground, regardless of who is helping whom. One thing is becoming clear. Iran today is not the same as before. Their strikes are more precise. Their targeting is more deliberate. Their timing is more calculated. This isn't just incremental improvement. It looks like a capability leap. And in modern warfare, that kind of leap rarely happens by accident. There's always a driver behind it. Training, experience, or collaboration. And, once again, Russia enters the conversation. Russia isn't just a military power, it's a strategic one. It has spent years, decades, studying and confronting Western systems. Air defense networks, radar systems, command structures, and more importantly, how to work around them. If even a portion of that experience is shared, it can significantly elevate a partner's capabilities. That's where Russia's real strength lies, not just in weapons, but in knowledge. Not just in hardware, but in doctrine. If that kind of transfer is happening, then Iran isn't just gaining tools, it's gaining perspective. What's often overlooked is that this relationship isn't one-sided. In the past, Iran provided drones to Russia. That's widely discussed. But in geopolitics, nothing is one-directional. Everything is exchange. If Iran contributed before, it's reasonable to consider that they're receiving something in return now. And that creates a different kind of partnership, not just an alliance, but a strategic exchange, a system where both sides reinforce each other's strengths. And when that happens, the results can be significant. Now, let's talk about the bigger claims. When reports emerge suggesting that Iran may have targeted assets like the Boeing E-3 Sentry, the conversation shifts. Because this isn't just any target. This is a high-value airborne command system, highly protected, constantly monitored, extremely difficult to engage. Even approaching that level of capability requires serious advancement. So the question isn't just whether the claim is true, but whether Iran is now operating at a level where such claims are even plausible. And if that's the case, it signals something much bigger. Iran today is no longer just reacting, it's acting, taking calculated risks, projecting force, demonstrating capability. It may not match the scale of the United States, but it doesn't need to. It operates differently. Efficiency, adaptability, strategic targeting, and in many cases, that can be just as effective as overwhelming power. Iran doesn't need to dominate, it just needs to be effective enough to reshape the equation. Now look at Russia's position. If it is involved, even indirectly, this is a highly strategic posture. No direct deployment, no open confrontation, no additional front lines, yet still able to influence outcomes. That's not weakness, that's strategic design, influence without exposure, impact without escalation. In modern geopolitics, that's often the most effective position to hold. So, where does that leave us? One statement from Zelenskyy opens the door to a much larger picture, a possibility that today's conflicts are more interconnected than they appear. But as observers, we need to stay grounded. Not everything should be accepted immediately. Not everything should be dismissed either. The reality often lies somewhere in between. Now, I want to hear your perspective. Is this a legitimate strategic shift, or simply part of a broader narrative battle? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's break it down together. And if you value this kind of analysis, support the channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing. Because conversations like this help us better understand what's really happening in the world. This video is based on publicly available information and ongoing developments. Some claims remain unverified and should be treated as such. The purpose of this content is to inform, analyze, and encourage critical thinking, not to promote any side or narrative.